And hello, Savannah. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk on this fine April 25th, 2018. It is now 12:06 p.m. It's the middle of the day, middle of the week. You have just passed the hump of hump day. And thank you for tuning into WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And thanks for tuning into my show here. My show, Real Estate Real Talk. We speak of anything and everything related to real estate and real estate investing. And my name is Julia M. Spencer. Thanks for tuning in. Before I get started with my show, though, I just want to let you know that the viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. As I always state, I have lots of opinions, so I always make sure I read the disclaimer. So last week, we actually brought in a case study, an interview, with an elderly gentleman who actually found me on the World Wide Web and approached me because he had questions about a reverse mortgage that he was considering at the time, and wanted to kind of get my advice on it. And that kind of got me into digging a little bit further into the topic, and got on the phone with him, and we had a really long, really interesting conversation. His name is Klaus. And Klaus Lange, he is originally from Germany. However, he lives in California at the moment. He's an artist. And his main question was, well, at first it was, should he get a reverse mortgage because he had a very, very valuable condo where he's living in California. And what should he do? Where should he live? And what should he do in his old age with his real estate? So, and we got into talking about vacation rentals and keeping a property versus selling it, advantages and disadvantages. And I wanted to bring the rest of this interview or this discussion case study here with me because he's such an interesting guy and he's got so much valuable information. I was quite amazed that he had asked me for advice because I probably would be better off asking his advice. So I brought the rest of this interview here with me, and I'm going to play that for you in just a moment, and I'll be right back after this. My name is Julia M. Spencer. Thanks for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk here on a Wednesday afternoon on WRUU, and I have brought with me the rest of the interview that I started last week with Klaus Lange, a subscriber, a fan, an elderly gentleman who's looking into his options for his financial future in his age. He's 75 years old, an artist, extremely funny. And here's the rest of that interview. Hopefully you enjoy it.
So this system of advertising, of posting, of listing it low, and then let the bidding war start, that's just insane here. They sell like 25% over list price. Mm-hmm. And people just outbid each other.
Yeah, well, I lived in California briefly. I remember that. I never bought any property there. And taxes are crazy.
Yes. I mean, I don't mind paying taxes, but it's the fixed income that's the new enlightening for me, the new enlightenment for me, being on a fixed income, and I can't just create money. I can't. It's just it's there, and I have to spend what I can spend, and then muddle my way through.
So you decided you're planning to sell the condo now? Is that what you're going to do?
I sell the condo and just divest myself of all of those expenses. I'll have a chunk of money sitting there. I have a nice houseboat on that I can live on. I now need to move my address and all of that. That's like a 6 months process, just move everything over and arrange it in such a way that no matter where in the world I am, I have a mail forwarding service. I can hire somebody to do it for me. And then live wherever I want to. I can rent a room for for my purpose. I've got pretty humble tastes. I can live for 3 months in Chicago or up in Quebec to polish up my French, or I can go down to Costa Rica. I'll go down to Costa Rica in August anyway. I'll meet up with some friends from Germany, and while I'm there, I'm going to look around for a little. My perfect life would be living on the top floor of my own bed and breakfast with a small cafe downstairs and a dumbwaiter from the kitchen up to my terrace.
Oh, okay.
Where I can sit on my deck chair and watch the cruise ship go in and out. That's kind of, I can handle that.
Yes, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, so I'm going to look around in Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta and in Costa Rica for just that, for something like that. Yeah. If I find it, okay. If I don't find it, okay. The other one is I'm looking at some real estate pictures in Germany, between kind of a straight line between Bremen and Hamburg, about 40 miles out of Bremen, 45 minutes out of Bremen, and oh God, I found this gorgeous little house, and I can just see myself. But then I have to live with the weather, and the only way you can live in Germany is you have a flight ticket to some place sunny in your back pocket.
That's
down to Mallorca, Tenerife, Spain, Portugal, or in my case, of course, back to California because my boat is here. I own a couple of boat condominium slips in that marina, and one of them is my boat, and the other slip I rent out. And like next year, we're getting a complete overhaul of the docks in the marina, and for that purpose, they've been collecting HOA fees that were like accelerated. But once the docks are built, they cannot just keep collecting the fees. They can't just keep building up the fund. They need to bring it back down again. So the condo fees are going to drop from, I think I'm paying $304 a month right now per slip, and they're going to drop down by over 65%. And then it's going to be $150 plus $230 liveaboard fee. That's for under $500 I can live there. Yeah. Which is that's not a bad price in San Francisco.
No, not at all. And it's just you. I mean, as long as you have space for your artwork and to do your art, I believe you do art.
I may rent. I'm in negotiation right now. A friend of mine is giving up, and there's like two marinas adjacent to each other. One is the private marina part, which is where I'm in right now, where I bought my slips, and the other one is the public marina, which is run by some outfit that runs like 50 marinas around the country. And so my friend has a small office there, like, I don't know, maybe 200 square feet, and it doesn't have any running water or bathroom or anything like that. And that would just be wonderful for me. I would take that in a heartbeat, because I have being in the marina right next door. I have the bathroom facilities. There's several units of my marina available to me, so I don't need any running water. I don't need a toilet in there. I just need a place where I can put my desk and stash my artwork and put most of my clothing in there that doesn't fit on the boat. I can't put like 3 tuxedos on the boat. It doesn't work that way. Boats are not big, and boats are not built to store your tuxedos or whatever winter clothing that I don't need here.
Well, I think I was going to tell you that with all the things that you've mentioned to me in the emails, that might be your next best bet is to sell your condo. But I think you already came to that same conclusion.
I heard you. I must have felt your vibes. I said, yeah, let's sell it. Let's see. There's no sense. There's no point in me hanging on to this thing. First of all, it's overvalued. Okay? Yeah. The price will come down. Mm-hmm. And I'm too old to ride it out for another cycle.
And another thing I was going to mention to you is, since you are in the condo complex with all these units, you said there's 1,200 or something, you said?
Yeah.
I mean, what would stop you from selling yours and just renting one of the other ones until you decide you don't want to live there anymore? I mean, you said,
yeah.
I mean, you could stay in the same place, maybe in a different unit.
Sure,
and still enjoy the same kind of living.
But buying a smaller unit right now, okay, right next door to me, the unit right next door through the wall here, and she headed up I saw somebody move out there the other day, and so I know the owner. I called the owner, and she said, yeah, but it's expensive. I said, well, what do you want? She wants like a smaller unit. It's like a studio apartment. She wants 2,200. I said, damn, girl. She said, yeah, I've been getting it, it's the, and we were talking also about Airbnb, and she meant to do that. I said, sorry, can't do. They won't let you. They have the police, the little local, the Airbnb police out for you.
Yeah, but if she's asking for $2,200 a month, you would be paying 1,000 of that in taxes anyways.
That's
so
right.
The extra living expense that you don't have now, if you were to rent your neighbor's condo, would be $1,200,
right.
And you would have, let's say hypothetically, $450,000 in the bank to spend in the next, let's say, as you mentioned, 20 more good living years or so. Since you said you're 75.
Yeah, I always like the idea of being like 96 and then get shot by a jealous husband.
There you go.
That's kind of my goal,
But the thing is, you don't have to stay.
I told that my doctor, and my doctor says too much information. I don't need to know that.
Yes.
All right.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that you would have. The other thing that I would consider if you do sell it is that you may have to pay capital gains taxes, especially if you sell it for more than the threshold. I believe the tax laws.
No, it's not more than a threshold. I think I can hang on to. I think my base is 225 in it, and so whatever is over 100, over 225, I think 250 is the threshold.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get there. So, because that was my question, and that was the other question. If I want to buy something in Germany or Portugal or Barcelona or Costa Rica or wherever, how do I get the money out? And the answer is no, you just go buy something there.
Yes, you can do an exchange, like a 1031 exchange, but you have 90 days to do that, to identify something. You don't have to close within 90 days, but you have to identify something. And the money, and the way the closing has to go is through a special closing attorney where the money gets put in the trust. You don't actually get it until it's...
Right.
And thanks for having tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. I'm just interjecting here a little bit. This interview I've had with Klaus Lange, a subscriber, an elderly gentleman who is looking at his options for his financial stability in his later years. So I brought that with me here. We're talking a little bit about system, how homes are listed in California. He's located in California, how people outbid each other, setting a really low listing price first. And he's basically lamenting on his fixed income. He has to be careful, of course, and he needs to decide whether he keeps his condo or if he remains living there or if he rents it out. Anyways, right at the end there, what I kind of touched on are 1031 exchanges, and I brought with me another little audio segment from a YouTube video that's online there that kind of describes what 1031 exchanges actually are. But before we get to that, I want to just play you some real brief announcements because we're actually already at the bottom of the hour here. And we got some cool stuff going on. So I'm going to just go ahead and play those right now.
WRUU listeners like you crave exploration and discovery. That's how we can offer your business or organization a unique way to separate your name from the clutter inherent in commercial radio advertising. Underwriting on non-commercial WRUU will make your name stand out because we allow only a limited number of sponsorships per hour, and your message will be reaching listeners who are actively engaged in programs that demand their attention. Let our team build a customized plan to meet your marketing goals by linking your name to our unique music and talk programs. For more information, email underwriting@wruu.org.
What's up, beautiful people? It's Clay Hodges, and I am the host of Monday Motivation, which comes on 8 to 9 a.m. on Mondays here on WRUU. I'm one of many local musicians who volunteer as a radio host on 107.5 FM, and a bunch of us will be getting together and inviting our musical friends over for a concert and party that we'd love for you to join in. So the party is going to be April 28th at Southbound Brewing. It's our second annual Tunes and Brews. Tunes and Brews is a fundraiser for WRUU, you know, Savannah's only community radio station. The lineup includes myself, Nancy Druitt, Josephine Johnson, Dad Neighbors from Athens, Georgia, and Teen DeVoice from Jacksonville, Florida. DJ C Powers will be providing the beats. We have the tunes, and Southbound has the brews. Our fine folks will be grilling up tasty food as well. All that's needed is you. So join us for Tunes and Brews on Saturday, April 28th from 6 to 10 p.m. on Southbound Brewing on Lathrop Avenue. For more information, go to WRUU.org. It's going to be our party of the year. So let's keep community radio alive in Savannah. See you there.
Yes, dear Savannah listeners, make sure you put that on your calendar. It's on Saturday. There will be lots of other DJs there and hosts, everybody here from the station. So this is your chance to go out there and meet us, all of us people that are here talking to you on the air, and let your voice be heard. You can talk to program hosts and DJs about their music, about the programs they play, and kind of get a little bit of a feel of what we do. And of course, meet us all in person. This is the place to be. If you're bored this Saturday, that's the place you should go. And the cool thing is, I just found this out, by the way, dear listeners, there is going to be 2 special beers on tab that are WRUU beers. I want to try those. And portions of the sales would be coming to the station. Of course, as you know, we're all volunteers here. We all dedicate our hard-earned time here and efforts to bring you this awesome programming here every day, 24 hours a day. And yes, please come. Make sure you put that on your calendar. I'll be there. And you can meet me, you can meet everybody else here in the station, and look forward to hear from you. Don't miss it. But let's get back to the program here. My name is Julia M. Spencer. I am here until 1 o'clock, and we're talking about real estate investing specifically for the small-time real estate investor like myself. And I just played you a little bit of an interview with a subscriber, a fan from my YouTube channels and social media, an elderly gentleman, and he was kind of telling me a little bit about his plans for the future, and it gets even more interesting because he's coming up with some really cool ideas. Thinking out of the box, this guy's got it. I mean, he might be 75 years old, but he could easily pass for a teenager with the cool creativity that he comes up with. And I love it. I love hearing from people like that, especially here on this show. But the last thing that we talked about right there in the interview, where we're talking about Section 1031 exchanges. And I wanted to touch a little bit on that so I don't lose you in the interview. What I basically had mentioned to him is that under Section 1031 of the United States Internal Revenue Code, a taxpayer may defer recognition of capital gains and related federal income tax liability on the exchange of certain types of property. Now, this applies to investment property only, though. So Klaus here, my guest here on the show, would not be able to would not be able to use that on his personal property, but he could indeed convert his personal property into an investment property and then exchange it for another property and deferring capital gains taxes essentially forever, as long as he kept that going. Now, I made a video on YouTube. It's actually on YouTube, and you can watch it for information if you wanted to see the whole thing. And it's actually right here in Forsyth Park. I'm talking from Forsyth Park here in the video. But the video's name is, Does Capital Gains Tax Apply to You and 1031 Exchanges? It basically explains 1031 exchanges a little bit more. So I'm going to just play that. It's really, really short, just about 3 minutes or so. A 1031 exchange is a law or rule that is in place for investors to preserve their wealth. So investors that buy and sell properties all the time, they don't want to have to pay capital gains taxes on all these properties that they have all the time. They want to preserve it and kind of carry it over to the next property. And so they have to 1031 exchange, where basically any kind of profit is immediately reinvested into the next property, and in such case is not lost. And there's no capital gains to be paid for that, because you're basically just trading in one property for another. However, the problem in this case was that this particular investor or home buyer in this case was talking about personal property, in fact property that he was planning to live in himself. So the 1031 exchange only applies to investors that want to trade in investment property. This is not property for personal use, not private personal residence property. So 1031 exchanges are not for personal property. And in fact, when you do engage in a 1031 exchange, you have to hire a realtor or some sort of exchange agent between you and the actual sale that holds the money, and you're not allowed to even touch it. So it's going to be put in a trust fund until the next investment comes along, and it has to be within a certain time frame. There's a time limit to this, and it has to be reinvested in that. So if you're a personal home buyer and you sell your property and you have a gain, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. There's no 1031 exchange for you. Now, what I recommended to this particular person is a couple of strategies that he could do in order to not have to pay this tax. And that would be to basically convert his private investment, his personal property, into rental for a while, and basically convert it from personal use to investment use, and then do a 1031 exchange after a period of time. And that would avoid having to pay the capital gains taxes. These are all issues that you need to discuss with your attorney or your CPA. There might be different rules about this in your specific state and locality, but you definitely need to check on all of this, and don't just automatically assume that your profit can get rolled over into another property and you don't have to pay taxes for this. And that was my video about if capital gains taxes apply to you, and a little explanation about 1031 exchanges. There's good advice there. Make sure you always check everything that you do in terms of financial 1031 work, capital gains taxes, with your attorney, with your CPA, with your bookkeeper, and the professionals. My opinion right here on the show is based on my own experience and as a real estate investor, so it is still an opinion based on a lot of experience, but I am not qualified to give you 100% advice here. You have to ask the experts here. And let's get a little bit more into this interview with Klaus Lange. Unfortunately, my time just flies. I keep looking at the clock. It's 12:35 p.m. If you're in your lunch hour, you got another 25 minutes to go. And let's talk a little bit more here with, well, actually, let me go ahead and play you a little interruption song here. Break time, right? I love these songs right in the middle of the day.
The Savannah Tree Foundation plants hundreds of trees every year. This organization is seeking help identifying tree planting sites in areas that are owned by the public or held in trust for public access. If you are interested and willing to care for the trees for 2 years, you may fill out an application at savannahtree.com and click on Programs and then Tree Planting Program.
And thank you, Savannah, for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer, my interview with Klaus Lange. And the next segment, actually the last segment here, because we're getting close to 12:41 already. Oh my gosh, time's flying by. He talks a little bit more about what he uses to prepare his legal documents, how he put everything in the trust, talks a little bit about tax sale foreclosures, vacation rentals, and also entertains a few outside of the box ways to make money in old age. And of course, you need to listen to those yourself because they have to do with opium pipes and looking for jewelry with metal detectors. Anyways, I'm just going to play it. It's entertaining. It's not completely 100% related to real estate, but I thought it was really interesting, and you guys will get a kick out of it anyways.
Document preparers, and I've been using them for all kinds of things. Self-catered divorces and what have you. It's, just to make everything legal. They don't give legal advice, but they do things like living trust and business papers or corporate papers, and they make sure that all the filings are correct and that everything is legal. That's what they do. For legal advice, I have to go somewhere else. That's the which is nice, you know. And I mean, I had a divorce 5 years ago or so, and it was mutual understanding. Just make it legal and make it. There was no argument. There was no I'm going to get this and you're going to get that. None of that. It's and so it was like self-direct, and it really feels good to have a legal office do these things. Yes. And then you just get a folder and say, okay, you're done with this. And then when it was time for the living trust, I went over there and said, I want everything that I own in that living trust. And so, so we're there.
Okay. Yeah.
So now so when there's, presumably I'm going to get a truckload of money for this one, which would be nice. And, but part of that money then would have, not your name on it, but certainly your direction on it. And I'm really fascinated by two things that you mentioned, and one of them is the tax
sale foreclosures. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right, that. And the other magic word that you just mentioned was vacation rentals, and I want to know more about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. For sure, I can help you with both of those.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing tax sale
the vacation rental. You know, there was another one that I just read about, and you mentioned something. There was one of your clips where you bought something where you said, you could probably refurbish that one and do something with it, put some couches and a piano into it, and it's right next to the university, and I can draw from that. But what you didn't realize, it was right over the line. There's always these invisible lines, and once you step over them, you might as well move to a new city.
Yes, that's correct.
And I had that experience once before with a restaurant where I made a deal with a dragon lady, and I said, well, I just have to make myself famous in a hurry here, and once I am, just move the place to another location. And then I learned about a study that is out there, and this goes for business mainly, or for restaurants in particular, that you can move a restaurant next door or across the street. That's okay. But if you go more than 6 blocks, you might as well move to a new city.
Wow.
And there's actually a study out there on that one. I said, damn, didn't know that.
Wow.
So then I had to start from scratch, and I was hanging on, and I built a restaurant that was really into cold weather food. It was like meat and potatoes, mom's apple pie, and home brewed beer. That was kind of the concept. And I built that, unbeknownst to me, right in the middle of a California drought that was lasting like for 6 or 7 years.
No.
So when there was miserable weather, rain and fog, I would have a packed house with a line out the door where I had to feed either mulled wine or chicken broth to those people that waited outside on the street in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep them in line and not make them go away. And then when it was nice weather, blue skies, I just looked at empty tables.
Yeah.
So that was too bad. I built that one in the right restaurant at the wrong time in the wrong neighborhood. And I was hanging on, just barely surviving. And then the earthquake hit. The 1989 earthquake hit, and my sales dropped by another 10%, and I just lost it. I just lost the spirit, and I said, can't do this anymore. And then I said, I want to run away. And said, what do you want? Where are you going to run to? I said, I don't know. I'm just going to run away. So my expert friend says, well, here's what you do. You just take your keys, throw them through the mail slot, and you walk away. Well, I can't do that. I've got to invest it. He said, don't worry about it. It's gone. And, or as I said, you go, you get yourself you close. Oh, here was my question. What happens if I just throw the keys in? And then what will I do? Said, well, you get yourself a metal detector, one of those little hand units, and you go to a place where there's lots of newlyweds. Newlyweds always lose their jewelry, and you make about $8,000 to $10,000 a year in found jewelry. It's enough to live on. Not good, but can live on it.
Wow!
And so,
didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's thinking outside the box, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was funny. So I dug myself out of a hole. I sold the restaurant at a loss. Now I was $250,000 deep in the hole, and I negotiated my way out without going bankrupt. And when dust had settled, my family had moved out. They divorced me, and for strategic reasons, we needed to get that divorce because if I had run it into the ground that deep that the creditors would reach over me and into her pocket, that would not be a good idea. So we did a strategic divorce, and then my nice friends said to me, look, if you want to go through with this, with the divorce, then you sit at the kitchen table and you sign in blood, never ever to misuse each other's names in front of the children. And as far as possible, speak with one voice. And then we decided, well, we're going to be parents for the rest of our lives, so we might as well get along. And we did. And today we're like brother and sister, and we're just kind of, we're parents and grandparents now, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
And the kids and their friends, they give us a thumbs up and say, wow, you really pulled that one off, and you did it right. Without fight, without blood, without screaming, and so you just did it right.
Good.
So, yeah. So
well, you should be proud of that. That usually doesn't happen.
I know, but it should. It should happen more often. It's the once it snaps, it snaps. It's like a rubber band attached between two people, and they go in different directions. You stretch the band, and one day it snaps. Well, when it snaps, what are you going to do? You can't change direction before you get to that point, but if nobody does, then
Yeah.
So that's the. And now I'm going to be living on a boat. I'm going to have another adventure, and the whole world is wide open to me. As long as I can visit the grandkids every now and then, I'll be fine. So
I think you'll be fine too. I mean, reverse mortgage was just going to be such a bad deal because you even mentioned yourself that there might be a time where you might need to go to some assisted living facility or something, and once you leave, you can't leave your house if you have a reverse mortgage. You're pretty much stuck there.
Right. Yeah, but even like the assisted living facility, you bring it up. We have something here in California. It's actually it's nationwide. It's called Ashby Village, and it's designed. It's a program designed for people aging in place. And the way it works is that the people sign on. The people who want to age in place would sign up for a membership for, I don't know, $700 a year. I'm not sure exactly what the number is. Something like that. And then the organization has a fleet of volunteers. So a person who is rickety, who needs the light bulb changing or the groceries brought up or a computer fixed, whatever, little things. There will be volunteers dispatched to their home, and they just take care of it. And the people can stay in their house, and they don't have to go to an assisted living facility unless they need medical attention every day. But even then, we have a fleet of nurses that are coming around now that can do that kind of thing. So. And I looked into that, but I'm not there yet. Not by a long shot. Yeah.
If you're healthy, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just got back from the doctor, and he said, get out of here. See me in 6 months. So I'm doing okay.
That's good. That's good. Very good.
And if I ever get to the point where I'm deemed terminal, I'm still going to stay here, and I'm going to activate some little Chinese girl to come over every day and administer the opium pipe while I'm sitting out there, watch the hummingbirds and people in the pool, and just sit on my balcony, and I'll be fine. I don't want to go to a hospital and lay on a stainless steel table with morphine in me. Why? Might as well sit in my deck chair and get more and smoke opium. Same thing. Yeah. The biggest thing that happened to me, what turned it around, when I lost everything, I said this isn't too well, and I assigned my problems of divorce and losing business and all of that to an overconsumption of drugs and alcohol. Not in a way like a wino, being all disheveled, laying in the gutter. But I could see where it was going because I kept losing business. I mean, the drought wasn't my fault. But essentially, those were my decisions that got me to where I was, and they didn't get me to a very good place. And then when I'm not in a very good place, I run away to sea, and when I'm out on the ocean, working on a ship, then I have a roof over my head and food in my belly and money in my pocket, and I can't do anything stupid any faster than the ship is moving.
And that was an interview with Klaus Lange, who is an elderly gentleman who was debating with me and discussing his plans and future options for his financial future now that he's retired and still owns some real estate. Kind of entertaining there, didn't you think? He's going to get somebody to administer the opium pipe, and he's going to look for wedding rings with a metal detector. Anyway, outside the box thinker, really charming person. I was glad I was able to rebroadcast this interview right here on the air at WRUU. Unfortunately, again, just like last week, we actually kept talking for at least another 45 minutes here. And this interview went on quite some time, and it was so interesting. I just wish I could play the whole thing. But we are running out of time, dear listeners, unfortunately, here in Savannah. And so I just wanted to do a little bit quick housekeeping here. And also I have another special song here I want to play for you, and one I've actually never heard. So this is going to be interesting. My name is Julia M. Spencer. You have just listened to Real Estate Real Talk, my show that deals with real estate investing, anything and everything related to real estate investing. You can reach me by emailing me at realestate@juliamspencer.com. And I also will be on the air on May 14th and May 21st from 4 to 6 p.m., sitting in for way left of the dial for Tom Murray, who's out of town. And if you have any kind of themes for those two shows, let me know. You can send them to that email as well. I haven't decided yet which music I'm going to play, but it's going to be fun. And the next show right here on the station will be Jazz Brunch, hosted by our program manager, our station manager right here, Dave Lake. And look forward to hear your comments, suggestions, questions. If you want me to make another real estate show about any kind of topic that you want to hear about, feel free to suggest that topic to me. Now, just want to remind you before I get off the air here, don't forget to put this on your calendar. Tunes and Brews, April 28th, 6 to 10 p.m., Southbound Brewing. It's 107 East Lathrop Avenue. And we all right here at the station would love to see you come out, support your local radio station, listen to local music, drink local beer, mingle with locals. It's going to be so much fun. So please put it on your calendar and come. I'll be there. I look forward to see you. And with that in mind, I'm going to go get off the air here. I wish you a very awesome rest of your Wednesday here, Wednesday afternoon. And I'm going to play a song by one of the bands that's actually going to play right there at this Tunes and Brews. And their name is Teen Divorce. Hopefully I can get it going here in just a second. And the name of the song is Almost Heaven. Let's see if I can get it to go. There it is. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.